Hello, folks. I'm the Old Sergeant. From CBS News, Canada designates the Proud Boys a terrorist group, ranked with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Canada on Wednesday labeled far-right group, and they always talk about far-right groups for anybody that is conservative or traditional. They don't even know the definition of far right. They just know that it sounds bad. So starting again, Canada on Wednesday labeled far right group the Proud Boys as a terrorist organization. Less than a month after some of its members participated in the deadly U.S. Capitol riot, Canada's Public Safety Department said it had reasonable grounds to believe the Proud Boys is a group that has knowingly participated or facilitated a terrorist activity. The group and its members have openly encouraged, planned, and conducted violent activities against those they perceive to be opposed to their ideology and political beliefs, the Public Safety Department said. The label puts the Proud Boys on the same list as militant groups like the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. The Canadian government even added several Islamic State and Al-Qaeda affiliates to its terror list on Wednesday, in addition to the Proud Boys. Under the new classification, it is illegal in Canada to give logistical or financial support to the Proud Boys. Canadian financial institutions must freeze assets tied to the group, and anyone associated with the Proud Boys can be denied entry into Canada. The listing also allows the government to seize Proud Boy property and supports removing Proud Boys content online. The announcement came the same day a Proud Boys member who called himself the Sergeant of Arms of the group's Seattle chapter was arrested and charged for his suspected involvement in the January 6th Capitol riot, which left 5 people dead. Now, everything you're going to see is going to say, left 5 people dead. They're implying people that rushed into the Capitol killed 5 people. Let's go over the real facts. 2 of the people died from natural causes, a stroke and a heart attack. 1 person, unfortunately, was crushed in the crowd. A police officer, a Capitol police officer, they thought had been attacked, turned out that he died of natural causes. He died of a stroke unrelated to the events of the Capitol. Who is the person that actually died from violence? It was when a scared security guard shot a female Air Force veteran, Alicia Babbitt. Alicia Babbitt was the one that was killed. 2 Proud Boys members from New York and self-described group organizer in Florida are also facing federal charges for their alleged roles in the assault. CBS News, Ed O'Keefe asks in a White House briefing Wednesday if the U.S. would follow Canada in calling the Proud Boys a terror group. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said a decision wouldn't come until the ongoing national security review of domestic extremism is completed. When it is concluded, I'm sure we have more to say about our view, Psaki said. The FBI in 2018 classified the Proud Boys as an extremist group with ties to white nationalism. That is bovine scat. They are not white nationalists. It's very interesting because there's a whole bunch of Proud Boys being proud of Western civilization that are black, Hispanic, Asian, all the races that make up the United States are members of the Proud Boys. They are in no way, shape, and form a member of the white nationalists who want to kick out anybody that isn't white out of the country. Continuing, but U.S. federal law does not have a statute to criminalize domestic groups as terrorists. The Proud Boys were founded in 2016 by Gavin McGinnis, a Canadian writer and commentator who co-founded Vice. The group describes itself as Western chauvinist and has supported misogynistic, anti-Islamic, and white nationalist views. More BS crap. Ask the auxiliary Proud Boys girls. They're not misogynistic. This is a common label that is applied to anybody that is the least bit conservative and traditionalist. Anti-Islamic, they're against the Islamists that commit violence. But apparently that's not allowed anymore. You are a racist if you don't actively support terrorism being committed against you. Continuing, the 2020 campaign put a spotlight on the Proud Boys when former President Donald Trump refused to explicitly condemn them in a presidential campaign and told them to stand back and stand by, a comment that members saw as an endorsement. What the president was really trying to do is to get the Proud Boys to quit going out and confronting Antifa, because you know what's going to happen. Everybody that commits violence, if they're in Antifa, gets away with it. And the only people that get arrested and go to jail are the Proud Boys, because they are honest, decent human beings that actually talk to the police. Continuing, the Biden administration started to crack down on domestic terrorists and white supremacists in the wake of the Capitol insurrection. The Department of Homeland Security last week issued its first national terror advisory about domestic groups, warning of heightened threat environment through the coming weeks. They're setting the stage. If you are a member of a conservative organization, oh God, you must be a racist, misogynist, homophobe, nationalist, all the ists and phobes that they can attach to you, and you are a danger. Essentially, they are saying that about 95 million Americans are considered a threat and possible domestic terrorists. From Reuters, 9 Oath Keepers indicted over Capitol attack. A federal grand jury has indicted 9 members of the far-right militia Oath Keepers. Stopping right there, the Oath Keepers deny that they are a militia. They can make one real quick if they desire to, but they don't. Just a reminder, Oath Keepers are former military and police that say that they're going to keep their oath to the Constitution of the United States. Continuing, the indictment alleges the group plotted as far back as November to storm the U.S. Capitol and plan for a military-style attack. More BS. We're talking about military and police. If they seriously wanted to attack the Capitol, they would have been successful. Very few weapons were found in the entire area, let alone inside the Capitol. If they wanted to plan this, they would have won. They would have captured everybody and controlled the Capitol. As I said, former military and police, you think they're going to screw up and this was the best they could do? Continuing, in late December, the Florida's chapter self-described leader Kelly Meggs posted a message on Facebook about the January 6th rally in which she referred to President Trump, saying he called us all to the Capitol and wants us to make it wild. Sir, yes, sir. Gentlemen, we are heading to D.C. They are using this to say these people planned an insurrection. Sure sounds like a conspiracy to go out and watch the president give a speech and party. What about that is any type of criminal conspiracy saying, hey, let's all go to Washington, D.C.? More than 200 people have been charged so far in the Capitol riots that left 5 people dead. And here we are again, Capitol riots that left 5 people dead. In reality, the person that was murdered due to violence was Ashley Babbitt. Continuing, and caused members of Congress to flee. How many times has massive numbers of leftists come into the Capitol and accosted their representatives? I see films of it all the time. Their representatives are getting hit in their offices, walking down the corridor, even in the elevators. They have people coming up and yelling at them. Sometimes more people than January 6th. Complete and utter nonsense is being fabricated to take our rights away. This person's byline says what the leftist authoritarians in this country want Americans to think. Enough is enough. Let's call them what they really are, domestic terrorists. Yeah, you think of them as domestic terrorists because they're against your communist, Marxist authoritarianism. You're going against the Constitution, and we're going to fight against you, and therefore we're the terrorists because we're going to stop you from being domestic enemies of the Constitution. Continuing, while the deep state, federal law enforcement agencies did very little about Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning down our cities, they jumped to accuse Patriot groups of being terrorist organizations. This is a blood libel, insult, and threat, and why the hot civil war will escalate, much to the detriment of the Patriots, because they're going to be rounded up. The deep state oligarchs know they have to take out the Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer, 3%ers, and others. They must do this in order to stop those that will oppose the oligarchy in favor of the Constitution and our nation's customs, culture, traditions, religion, and history. The government will then use that violence as an excuse to take more and more rights and freedoms away. They will cancel members of the Patriot groups. The oligarchs will go after the Patriots' jobs, bank accounts, credit cards, relationships, and anything else they can target to destroy the individuals. It is still possible to stop the destruction of our country with intense, nonviolent pushback against the government. We must informally organize now to stand up to the government and other governments and all the non-state actors. We must stand up and say no. Start at the local level. Recapture our local governments and take back our schools. Local governments are the foundation the national government sits on. To change the nation, change your city and your state. I'm the old sergeant. Stay informed, prepared, active, prayerful, and as always, stay vigilant.